Namaste and good morning, everyone. Let's start our Saturday class with some prayers first. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhur Bhuvasvaha, Tatsavitra Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayat, Asto Ma Sadgamya, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गम्य मृत्युर्मा अमृतं गम्य ओम सहनावतु सहनो भुनक्तु सवीर्यं कर्वावै तेजस्वी नावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावै ओम शांति शांति शांति। योग दर्शन फर्स्ट चैप्टर. We ended our last week's class on verse number 39. And in the last so many verses, Rishi Patanjali has been telling us different techniques. Either we can employ one or two or all, it's up to us. But idea is to clean our mind, calm our mind. Because the next stages of progress can happen only if our mind is clean and calm. Okay, otherwise we are just going in circle and not progressing. So now if we have done that, he's telling us that you have mastered your mind. And with that mastered mind, what can happen? Paramanu paramamahattvantosya vashikarah. Paramanu. Param is the highest or absolute. Anu means atom. So it means the smallest particle imaginable. Paramanu. Smallest particle. Param mahatva antah. Param means highest, mahatva, the essence of being, big, grand. Antah, the end. So together this compound word means that the biggest entity, the highest expansiveness. Asya. Asya is a possessive of pronoun idam. So refers to one who has attained stability of asya, or absolute concentration of the mind. Vashikar. We saw that word earlier also in verse number 15. Vashikar. A particular state of samadhi. A state of mind that is fully controlled. A mind which is free from all forms of attachments. Because with the help of the vairagya, we attain that. So attachment to the celestial layers are also gone. Swargik sukha. So when our mind is clean and mind is clear, he says, a yogi's mastery stretches from the smallest atom to the biggest objects. Infinite capacity. A calm, clear, inward flowing mind is the key to mastery over the outer as well as the inner world. That's what he's trying to tell us. So he's describing the abilities of a yogi who has gained perfect mastery over his or her mind. Because he has been telling us that confused mind is not fit to the path. And a confused mind cannot be truly productive either in the external world or in the spiritual world. That's why it's extremely important that a seeker on the path of personal transformation and self-discovery acquire a clear, calm, and tranquil mind. because only with such a mind we can assess the real cause of any disturbance and even discover the tools and means to overcome the fundamental causes of disturbances in both the inner world and the outer world. That's why we often talk about that yoga is really a bridge between the inner and the outer. A yogi knows how to live in this world beautifully, in the outside and even the inside. So in the previous sutras, Patanjali explains that inner restlessness and the practice of concentration do not go together. So only through twofold method of systematic practice, abhyas and dispassion, the vairagya, we can attain freedom from the restlessness. And this is the kind of a mind that is fit to practice the yoga, that has mastery over mental modifications as its goal. And once your mind is with you, and it has become calm and tranquil, acquired the ability to stay focused on an object for a prolonged period, you have become a master of yourself and the bigger world of which you are a part. This is what he's telling us. So in this sutra, Patanjali explains how far this mastery stretches. So he states that such a yogi has the ability to penetrate the smallest of the smallest particle. Okay? No matter how small you cut it, yogi can penetrate into it. And mind has become so subtle, so condensed, so compressed, so small that it can penetrate even a Paramanu, smallest entity imaginable. And can also understand the mysteries of this world. Ordinary mind cannot do that, but only a stable mind can. Sitting in the middle of the swirling clouds of atoms, remains immobile as a mountain. Such a yogi can focus his mind on immense objects also. Mountain ranges, even the stars, able to stretch the size of his mind to accommodate the biggest entities in the universe. Able to see all of nature, most expansive primordial energy field, all at once. All at once. So due to the expanded field of his mind, he can see what is going on in the world, its cause and its effects. Such a yogi has the capacity to comprehend the subtle causes of even the most complex issues. And this yogi is able to go back and forth between extremes, from the subtlest to the grossest, from the smallest to the biggest, and able to stay focused on an extreme and instantly finds the answer. Such a masterful yogi is capable of focusing on that which is steady as well as which is constantly moving. This is the meaning of this verse. But remember, without a clear or a calm mind, these are just only words. So that's why abhyas and vairagya, we have to keep on doing. Now let's look at verse number 41. Ksheenna vritter abhijatasyev iv mane grahitri grahanna grahyeshu tatstha tad tatdanjanata samapattih. And even this term samapattih, we saw that earlier too. So let's look at the word meanings. Ksheenna vritter. Ksheenna means destroyed, erased. Vritti means modifications. A mind that is no longer affected by its own modifications. So in other words, a clean and calm, tranquil mind. Ksheenna vritter. Abhijatasyev. Abhijat refers to a special gem that fulfills all the wishes. It is said in our scriptures that a person who is wearing it, this abhijat gem, has the capacity to produce any wish. And the real meaning is that person doesn't have any wish. Fulfillment of the wish means won't even have a wish. If means like, money means jewel, grahitri means perceiver, recipient. Grahanna, the process of receiving, perceiving. Grahye means perceivable. So in this context, the object of concentration, grahye. So together, this term means in relation to the object of meditation, the process of meditation, and the pure transcendental consciousness that witnesses all internal states and functions. Tatstha tadangjanata samapattih. Tat means that. Satha means based upon or standing. Tad, that. Anjantaha, the quality of having a color or a characteristics. Samapattih, the end result, the conclusion. So a tranquil mind is like a crystal, a gem. It assumes the color of whatever is in its proximity, be it an object of concentration, the process of concentration, or the pure consciousness that witnesses the inner functioning of the mind. Clear gem. So mind becomes a clear gem. So in this sutra, Rishi Patanjali is making two important points. First, the mind is like a wish-yielding gem. And the second, the mind has the ability to assume the color of anything in its proximity. So the first point indicates that the mind is a field of a limitless creative energy. It has the capacity to create, maintain, and demolish anything it wishes. It is such a strong tool. We all can know that mind is the creator of both its misery and of its happiness. It has the capacity both to guide and to misguide, to bless as well as to curse. But as described in the previous sutra, once the mind is clear, calm, and tranquil, has gained the ability to focus on both the subtlest and the grossest, the minutest and the biggest, it has no taste for anything which is negative, destructive, or painful. Okay, that's why a yogi's mind is like that. And the second point indicates that like a crystal, a clear, calm, and tranquil mind assumes the color of whatever lies in its closest proximity. Clear gem, clear crystal, you put a red cloth under it, you think that gem is red. And if you change the color of that cloth, it will show with that color from that clear crystal. Because it has lost its taste for that which is negative, destructive, painful, it naturally discovers that which is positive, constructive, and joyful. That's a yogi's mind. Such a mind propelled by the law, similar attracts similar, is drawn towards that which is good and auspicious. The result is that this crystal clear mind finds itself on the path of transformation effortlessly. Yogi just only wants to walk on that path which leads towards the divinity. For a yogi with such a mind, this world is beautiful, peaceful, and joyful. Nothing is distasteful. Everything is good and auspicious. He is ever content. Santoshi. The yogi with a crystal clear mind lives in the world and yet remains unaffected by it. Fully aware of the thought process, but does not identify with the thoughts. That means always an observer of the thoughts, always observer of the external, but never get involved in it. Fully aware of the goals and objectives. Those goals and objectives do not taint a yogi's mind. That's why you always see a smile on a yogi's face. Because yogi enjoys every bit of this world, and once the enjoyment is over, no trace of the past lingers in a yogi's mind. Free of the memories of the past. That's what a crystal clear mind is. And no reason to be anxious about the future. Such a person is liberated here and now. So Rishi Patanjali is telling us to do the sadhana so that you have that kind of a crystal clear mind. Verse number 42. Tatra shabdarthajnanavikalpaih sankeerna savitarka samapattih. Tatra means there. Shabad means word. Arth means meaning. Gyan, cognition, awareness. Vikalpa, option or alternative. Sankeerna, limited or confined. Savitarka. Savitarka is accompanied by inquiries. Vitaraka, inquiries. Sa means with. Samapattih, the end result, conclusion. When the mind focuses on an object in association with the word and its meaning, there arises savitarka samapattih. A narrow field of concentration that contains the word, its meaning, and the object denoted. So it's such a spiritual absorption. It is so deep. We are no longer aware that we are meditating. The mind and the object on which it is focused have become one. That's what this samapattih is. So as described in the previous sutra, a clear, calm, and tranquil mind has the ability to focus on any object for a prolonged period. See, a confused mind cannot do that. A confused mind keeps on moving, keep on tossing. But a calm, tranquil mind can focus. The kind of a mind can focus on a gross form with a tangible shape size, and color, or it can focus on a pure idea beyond shape and size also. Because a tangible object is limited by space, the mind focused on such an object draws a boundary of space around itself. So mind exists. First, you focus the mind on the confined space occupied by the object, because that object is stable. So if you are focused on the word also, fully aware of the word assigned to that object, precise meaning of that word, and the homogeneous cognition that holds the word, its meaning, the actual object together. Because there's an unwavering mind. Mind is completely absorbed in that cognition. It could be the form of your Ishtadevata, the name of your Ishtadevata, or it could be any other divine object. So you are using that. That's why it's called a savitarka. So you are using that object and the name of the object which is associated with it. So this state of concentration is defined as savitarka samapattih. Samapattih is another word for samadhi actually. So cognitive absorption, savitarka samapattih. Seekers from a number of religious backgrounds undertake the practices of concentration, meditation, like that. Some people use some yantra, mandala, or image of God or goddess, cross, picture of Krishna. They all fall in this category. So these are perceptible forms with unique shapes and sizes. And words for these forms refer to an entity that corresponds or occupies that space. So when we say Krishna, that form of Krishna occupies that space. So in order to meditate on such an object, you must first withdraw your mind from every direction. Mind which is going somewhere else, bring it to that form. Focus it on the space occupied by that object. So keep your mind there. Mind is still aware of the word, its meaning, actual object denoted. So that's what he's trying to tell us. This level of mental absorption is cognitive samadhi. But when this process is taken to the next level, because there are different layers of samadhi, this is a savitarka samadhi. Next layer is called nirvitarka samadhi. And that is explained in the next verse. Verse number 43. Samriti parishuddhau savarup shunyah iv arthmatra nirbhasah ni vitarkah. Samriti parishuddhau. Samriti means memory, parishuddhau, thorough purification. It's like a cleansing which has really transformed you. So thorough purification or transformation of memory. Savrup shunyaha. Savrup is a self-nature, your own form. Shunya, empty. So devoid of one's own form. Iv means as if. Arth matra nirbhasa. Arth means meaning. Matra means only. Nirbhasa, illumination. So when the meaning alone is illumined. Ni vitarkaha. Nir means devoid of. Vitarka means option or alternatives. So the word, its meaning, and the object denoted are so well blended that distinctions among them no longer exists. So translation of this sutra is, upon the complete transformation of memory, there arises nirvitarka samadhi, a mental state in which the meaning alone is illumined, which appears to be devoid of its own form. Only the meaning. Because no matter how gross the object of your concentration and how concrete its shape and size, there comes a time in meditation when the mind becomes so absorbed in the object that the distinction between you as the meditator and the object of meditation and the process of meditation begin to blend into one another. Yet the retentive power, which is responsible for recollecting the word and its meaning, stands still. At that point in meditation, the mind crosses the field of space occupied by the object, and it begins to penetrate the very field of retentive power, memory, where the word and its meaning in their homogeneous state. So the actual discrete form of the object has already been left behind. So you have gone beyond that gross form. Now the word also which you are using, suppose you are using the word Krishna, it has merged into the meaning. And when the mind naturally becomes concentrated on the meaning alone, words could be many, forms could be many, but meaning is one. That meaning alone, nirvitarka samadhi arises. That is a state of mind fully aware of the pure meaning of the word. In other words, you can say the mind is fully focused on the feeling. Okay, that's what it means. Mind is absorbed in the pure feeling of sacredness, which is inherent in that word, or even in the idea. This level of stillness of mind is called nirvitarka samadhi. So that's why I said it's upon the complete transformation, though, of memory. Because if in the memory you still have the lingering ideas that this form is better, this name is better, then transformation has not happened. And nirvitarka samadhi cannot be attained. Because this is a mental state in which meaning alone is illumined. Etyaha eva savichara nirvichara cha suksham vishyaha vyakhyataha. Etya, accordingly. That means the same fashion or similarly. Ev means only, savicharaha. Sa means with, vichar means thinking. You remember there was a savitarak, nirvitarak. Now he's talking about a savichar and a nirvichar. So vichar is the inner reflection, analysis, contemplation. That's called vichar. Nirvichar, without thinking, beyond analysis. Cha means and, suksham vishyaha. Suksham is the subtle, vishya means object. That which has a subtle object as its focus. Vyakhyataha, to be described. So accordingly, he says, so connect that with the last two verses, the way he explained the savitarka and nirvitarka, he says accordingly, savichar samadhi and nirvichar samadhi, which have extremely subtle objects as their focal points, can be explained. So in other words, savitarak, nirvitarak, they were associated with the gross objects, the forms or the words. This has to do with the subtle object. So how a yogi of a clear, calm and tranquil mind can focus either on a minute or on a gigantic physical entity, and how such a yogi can effortlessly switch from minute to gigantic and yet remain unaffected by the qualities of the objects of mental focus. So now in this verse, he's taking us to the next level of concentration and the mental abilities induced by it. Yogi with a crystal clear mind can choose a pure idea. Not the object now. He's talking about the idea as an object of concentration and meditation. For example, tatstha asi. That's an idea. Thou art that. Tatstha asi. It's a Ved Vakya. In fact, it's called a Mahavakya. Rishi Patanjali is saying, be still and know that I am God. Tatstha asi. Here, these ideas are expressed by phrases made of a cluster of words. But the ideas are abstract. They convey, and it's very easy for the mind to quickly leave the words and phrases behind and simply focus itself on the idea. Idea which has no form. Words have the form. The physical objects have the form, but these ideas don't have the form, shape, or size. No physical sense occupy the space. So in the initial stages, the mind is aware of the process of attending the idea, definitely. It is fully aware of the fact that it is reinforcing the notion contained in the phrase. So that's why it says, Sa vichar. With the vichar, thou art that. So by virtue of attending it repeatedly, the mind is also aware of the fact that this notion is becoming clearer and firmer as a process of contemplation. And when progression is there, the level of realization induced by the concentration, the idea which is called a savichar samadhi, the samadhi where the mind stands still without fluctuation, only on that idea, tatstha asi, fully remains absorbed in that idea with the full awareness of the process of absorption. As the process is further refined by virtue of a greater intensity of concentration, mind is no longer aware of the process of the absorption. It has penetrated the very core of the idea, thou art that, and has become fully established there. So in other words, the awareness of the process of concentration on the idea is left behind. And this state of mental stability is called nirvichar samadhi. Samadhi devoid of the awareness of meditating even on the idea. Mind and the idea are so blended that they have become one. So according to the yogis, this level of absorption eventually leads the seeker to the experience of Aham Brahmasmi. I am that. This is not just the words now. This is the experience. This is a concept identical to the biblical concept. I am and my Father are one. It's the same thing. This is something to be experienced. So sadhana is needed. Then in verse number 45, he says, Suksham Vishyetvam Cha Aling Paryavasanam. Suksham, subtle, Vishyetvam, essence of the object, the nature of the object. So this means the meditation on the most subtle object. Suksham Vishyetvam. Aling, that means that which does not have a sign, not tangible. Paryavasanam, final stage, final destination. The end in every respect. Paryavasanam. So everything ends in the knowledge of the most subtle cause. So choosing a meditative object, meditation on the most subtle object culminates in meditation on Prakriti, the building blocks of our life and the life of the universe. So in this sutra, sutra number 45, Rishi Patanjali is making a crucial point. The highest goal of meditation or any other form of spirituality is to penetrate to the very nature of things and discover the cause of and cure for suffering at both the individual and the collective levels. He reminds us that in order to attain freedom from all forms of sorrow, we must understand our own nature. Because the cause of sorrow is deep within, at the very core of our being, and the cure lies there too. Unless you understand the most subtle components of your inner makeup, your search for inner freedom will remain confined to the outer layers of your being. You will never discover either the cause of sorrow or the cure for it, because we are looking at the wrong place. Cause is within, so the cure has to be within too. Many of us know that life is precious. We must not waste it. Yet we find little or no motivation to rid ourselves of sloth and inertia, tamsikta. Even when we do become little motivated, it doesn't last that long. Despite our good intentions, we sink back into our old grooves. And even though we are blessed with many great traditions, teachers, scriptures, we go on living with the same complaint. I can't do it. It's too difficult. I don't have the energy for it. We fight over tangible objects and seek solutions to those endless fights in the tangible world. And with each failure, we hold someone else or something else in the external world responsible. Why? This sutra provides the answer to that. At the level of the soul, we are divine, a spark of the absolute Almighty. But in our day-to-day existence, it is our mindset that frames our life and creates a context, either positive or negative, constructive or destructive, painful or joyful, around our behavior. Or you can say that we live in the box of our mindset. From the confines of this box, we see everything in our own particular way. This is how we build a pattern of likes and dislikes. I like this, I don't like it. We perform actions that conform to these likes and dislikes. Each action creates an impression in our mind. And that's how we continue doing more and more actions like that. Repeated actions. We accumulate more and more sanskars. That's how we strengthen our likes and dislikes. This is called the wheel of Karam. Karam Chakra, known as the Sansar Chakra also. And once this wheel is set in motion, it goes on spinning with ever increasing velocity. That is why, unless we bring a fundamental change in the realm of our likes and dislikes, the building blocks of our personality, we cannot truly transform ourselves. It is the transformation at this level that brings a lasting change in all the other aspects of our lives. That is why in the Sutra, Patanjali says that the highest form of meditation is meditation on a linga. Meditation on one's self, the soul, the Atma. There is a common myth that our innate nature cannot be changed. I often hear that people say, I was born like this. I cannot be changed. The truth is that we have the power to become whatever we wish. But we can exercise this power only by purifying our mind. Dirty mind does not have that power, only a pure mind. So we do this by transcending our likes and dislikes. So dirt on the mind is likes and dislikes, which Rishi Patanjali mentioned earlier in a Sanskrit terminology, rag and dvesh. Our attachments and aversions. This is what enables us to recognize what lies at the core of our being. How much of it is great and glorious, what is rotten, that we need to discard. This means that we must gather the courage to face ourselves. We must let go of the rotten. Unless we do, we will continue to be trapped and stay in this life with the likes and dislikes keep on growing. So meditation on our true nature takes us all the way to our core being, where the seeds of all our troubles and struggles lie. State of mind should be clear, calm, tranquil. Only then we can gather the capacity to reveal this ultimate cause of the seemingly endless chain of suffering. We want to be transformed. Only through this kind of a knowledge we can be transformed. And he is still talking about the samadhis, sabij samadhis. That's why next verse says, ta eva sabija samadhi. And we'll look at it next time when we get together for this class. So let's stop it here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much.